It's 5 p.m. on January 20th, 2026, and it is the McMinnville Water and Light Commission meeting. I will call this meeting to order. Trina, could you please do roll call?
Yes, Mayor Morris.
Here.
Commissioner Elmer.
Here.
Commissioner Garvin is on a leave of absence. Commissioner Macy Baker.
Here.
And Commissioner Johnson.
Here.
Yay. We have 4 items listed on the consent agenda. Would any commissioner or staff like to remove any of the items on the consent agenda?
Madam Mayor, this is Sam Justice. I'm your general counsel. I'm going to ask that item 3D, the water transmission line easement, be removed. We need to work on that some more before it goes to the commission.
Okay. Thank you. And then do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda with A, B, and C?
So moved.
Okay, so a motion with Commissioner Johnson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Lisa Macy Baker. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, consent agenda passes. Included in your packet are accounts payable and purchasing reports. Are there any questions on those reports? Okay, hearing none, we're going to move on. We have a new employee to introduce this evening. I'd like to invite Engineering Supervisor Kevin Skipper to introduce the new employee. Kevin?
Hello. Madam Mayor, Commissioners, Kevin Skipper, Customer Engineering Supervisor. I'm pleased to introduce you to Hector Diaz. He's our new electrical engineer. Hector started at the very end of October, so he's been with us for a couple months. Working with the customer operations side of things, kind of job shadowing, getting some technical training. So happy to introduce you to Hector. So
Welcome,
Hector.
Hector, are you from McMinnville?
No, I'm from California, Los
Okay.
Angeles.
Well, welcome. It's nice to have you here.
I'm happy to be here.
Great. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Next, we have our consultant and partner report, Brent Keller. Is he online?
Yes.
Is he here?
Hey, good evening.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, we started planting today in the watershed. I've almost completed the 731-90-100 road sale. We'll finish that up tomorrow and then move over to the 300-401 road sale, and then work on some interplanting. Should be all done with reforestation here in the next month or so, weather permitting and contractor permitting and so on. Timber sales, we've still got a 2025 sale. There was a 2-year contract that we sold last year that will be harvested this year. Stimson looks to get going on that here in the next 3 months. And the project work, most of the project work associated with that sale is complete. 2026 sales, the 100-103-114 road sale has been adjusted. It is now the 100-114 road sale. We pulled the 103 road unit because the 114 road unit was bigger than estimated. So now that sale's 43 acres and about 1.5 million feet. The 100-101 road sale ended up at 50 acres and with more volume than anticipated. So it's at about 2.5 million feet. So it's the same amount of volume overall, a little less acres. I'm sensitive to these sales getting too big and outside our sustainability goals, and so those are all in order. They've all been laid out, of course, and cruised. Prospectuses went out last Friday. We'll look forward to opening bids February 12th, the Thursday before the February commission meeting. And already I'm getting a lot of calls, a lot of contacts from folks that are anxious to look at these sales. So look forward to a good outcome for this year's program.
So Brent, you might talk a little bit about why we're doing the 101 road above the treatment plant?
That's the 100-114 road sale. It's that the first timber you'd come to headed up from the treatment plant on the right there, just to protect the infrastructure there. There's the fence. There's also those big storage tanks. And then, and I think most importantly, the actual treatment plant itself. And so we want to cut that timber, and then to eliminate any risk of damage from blowdown. And also, when we go to reforest that, we'll set that back, well, probably at least 100 feet, and just won't even reforest as close to the treatment plant the next time around. So that's the impetus behind doing that sale there. Without that, those concerns, that timber might not have been on the schedule as soon, but we accelerated those plans just because I think once everybody started thinking about it, looking at it, it's like let's take care of that. So
Okay. Good. Thank you, Brent. Commissioner Elmer has a question.
Hey, Brent.
howdy.
Hey, I don't know, I don't want to do it for a time frame right now, but on the next time, would you give us an overview of your guys' approach to the watershed, just for me and for everybody's information? I know you guys have been managing this for a long time and have a extensive knowledge of it, but just, questions, I have questions like, as a whole, how often do you guys assess the entire property to keep up with the growth? And I know that, we have some average always growth of what's going on, but I mean, I was just curious to know kind of how you guys approach it and what you guys look at and kind of the big picture plan that you guys have, just as I'm new and there's other new people here. I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, I could say just in a nutshell, we have a management plan that was developed 20, 30 years ago that determined that on a 70-year rotation, which means you're harvesting, in theory, a 70th of the property a year, which is, for perspective, Weyerhaeuser's on like a 40-year rotation. That's not our values with how the timber's managed. So we're on like a 70-year rotation. We can harvest between 4.5 and 5 million feet a year sustainably. And then as a check on that, I use that area control. Are we cutting no more than about a 70th a year or so? And as a check, because the volume estimates can sometimes be not as reliable as just the area control. So we check it that way. We have an ongoing inventory where we do timber cruising, and so we have volumes, especially for all the younger stands. The stands that are immediately coming up for harvest, I have a general idea, and then we cruise those right before we sell them, so we could pin down those volumes. But so that's our sustainability piece to ensure, that over time. And then how the stands are selected within that, we're targeting the oldest, least healthy stands first. Just the stands that are declining the most is the order of things. And then we're different also than industry or like where you can really push to the limits of the practice rules. We have smaller units, these 40, 50 acre units versus the practice rules allow for 120 acre units. We would never have a clear cut that big. And then you could cut 120 and then cut another 120 right after you've got green up on the one unit. So you plant, trees get up to 4 feet tall, then you can cut next to it. Well, we have what I call an enhanced green up. So we, even though our units are small, we still try to avoid cutting right next to a recent cutting until more like 10 years versus like going right back next to it at 4 years. Now there are times like when we were clearing along the power lines for fire mitigation where we have some flexibility there, but So those are a couple, like, or a few of the key points of the management
The other,
approach.
other thing you might want to add, Brent, is we do salvage logging. So,
Right, right. And so, which is a function of the older timber. You wouldn't have salvage logging
Fall
on.
down and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep, yep.
Okay.
Would you like more information about it, or is that sufficient for what you were thinking?
I mean, I think I understand that. I mean, if everybody else does. Okay. All right. Thanks, Brent.
And then we do have a tour.
we will schedule one.
We have this asset tour now annually, but I'm happy to take anybody out individually if you want to get a little more in-depth tour and look at things and
Yeah.
the historical perspective there. Be happy to do that anytime with anybody. So,
Yeah,
Great.
I'd like to do that at some point.
Thanks, Brent.
Thanks, Brent.
Thanks, Brent.
Thank you.
all right, very good. Take care.
All right, we don't have any appearance requests on the agenda tonight, but we have some staff reports, and I'd like to call on Communications Coordinator Julie. There she is. Hi, Julie.
Okay, McMinnville Water and Lights Communication Plan is a document that outlines clear and consistent goals and messaging for communicating to external audiences about the benefits of our services. The communications plan is an internal document that guides our communication strategy and is reviewed and updated annually. This document has been included in your packet. For this year, the key messages we are focusing on are sharing information about our remodeling project and the move of our main office operations to a temporary location. We want to make sure people find us. We've been here a long time, so. And we also want to continue educating our customers about the importance of being prepared for power outages and manage expectations about outage restoration. That's all I have. Do you have any questions or comments or suggestions?
No, I see that we kind of talked about the rate comparison, and I see that you have that on the, I think February. for it to
Social
go on.
media.
So I thank you for that. I think that'll be good.
Yeah.
Anybody have any other questions for Julie? You do a good job. Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Next, I'd like to invite Controller Shane Lehman. That take the commission. Hi, Shane.
Hello. There. We're going to be bringing up some slides here. My name is Shane Lehman. I'm the controller, and I just want to spend about 15 minutes to go over the monthly financial statements. And then at the end, we'll take a real quick look at the fiscal year 26-27 budget schedule.
Okay.
Part of my responsibilities as the controller is the accuracy and oversight of the general ledger accounts. And another responsibility of mine is to take those general ledger accounts and summarize them into financial reports. 3 financial reports that I do are included in the commission packet each month. And so those should look familiar to you. Today, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the one on the bottom there, which is our general financial statements. Some of you may have been wondering, this packet for this month in January includes the financials for November and not December. And so the reason for that is because the financial information takes a little while to go through our various modules in our accounting software. And so it'd be really difficult to try and get all of that information prepared in the December financials to be able to include in the January ones. So that's how we do that. Each month is we're always behind by about a month and a half on that. My goals today for these financial statements is to just go over the structure of the financial statement. So I'm not particularly looking at November's financial statements. Those are what I'm using, but it could be for any of our monthly financial statements. Another goal is to identify useful tips for reviewing these financial statements. And so inside these financial statements, we provide a balance sheet, income statement, and a cash flow statement. And we include those for each of our divisions that we report. Today, when I go to show you that balance sheet, income statement, and cash flow statement, I'm only going to show you the light division because they're nearly identical with the other divisions. So I'm going to start with the balance sheet. And again, this is for light division. And a balance sheet is described as a snapshot at a point in time. For example, like with cash, we're not trying to show you how much cash we had for like the beginning of the month to the end of the month. We're just only going to show it for one point in time. So for McMinnville Water and Light, that point in time is the last day of the month. So that's November 30th, 2025. And we report this point in time both for the current year and for the prior year. So you can see the current year and prior year amounts here. So some review tips that we have for this one, for the balance sheet, is to examine the percentage change from the prior year to the current year. And so I went and identified 3 of these that I'd like to point out. So starting with line 24 down here, prepaids and deposits, we can see that that rose 7% compared to the prior year. We weren't expecting any major changes with our prepaids or deposits this year. And so seeing that increase of only 7% is expected. And so next one I'd like to point out is line 2 up here, construction work in progress. So on this one, we can see that it increased quite a bit, 108%. But even though it increased by a large amount, we did know that there were certain capital projects that we were going to be doing this year that would make that increase happen. And so some of that is this upgrade and expansion to the facilities that we're doing this year. We also started some purchases of large transformers. And so again, even though the change is large, it was an expected large change. And then the last one I have here is this line 48 down here, accounts payable. And on that one, we can see that it increased by 121%. And on this one, I had John come to me and say, do you know why this is increased by 121%? And so we did some investigation on this one. And so our October BPA bill for 2025 that we received, which is in the amount of about $2.8 million, had a due date of December 1st on that bill. And so we didn't pay that bill prior to this November 30th date. But last year, the October BPA bill was due November 25th. And so we had paid last year's prior to November 30th.
And you could see that if you looked at the accounts payable, because there was 2 power bills in there.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So next, we're going to take a look at the income statement. And an income statement is described as a report of performance over a period. And so we report two periods on our income statement. One is a monthly period and the other one is a year-to-date period. And those two periods, we also do for the current year, which are, let's see if I can get it, over here, and we also do that for the prior year. On our income statement, we also list the annual budget amounts for each year. And then we do a budget to actual percentage calculation. And then one last calculation that we do is up here in the corner, where we do a calculation of the percentage of the year that's been completed. So as of November 30th, we've completed 42% of our current fiscal year. So some of the review tips that we've identified for this is to compare the budget to actual percentage to this percentage of the year that's been completed up here. And so I identified some of these as well to go over. If we start with line 19, our other deductions, over here we can see that we've already used 88% of what we had budgeted for other deductions. And so when we compare that to this 42%, we can see that we're ahead of schedule of what we were expecting to pay. But if we also compare it to the percentage of the last year, we can see that that's pretty consistent with our current year. And so the reason for this is because we have two invoices that we receive near the beginning of our fiscal year, and they're for annual payments is how we pay those two invoices. So we pay those up front at the beginning. And so then that makes it look like we've spent a lot of our budget already, but we're not anticipating much more for the continuing amount of the fiscal year. The next one is line 25 here, non-operating income other. And so on this one, we can see that it's already collected 175% of what we had budgeted. So again, compared to 42%, of course, even greater than 100%. If we compare that to the prior year, it is up some over what that 42% is, but still a large difference here. So we wanted to investigate that to see what was going on here. And so during fiscal year 25-26, the commission approved the sale of clean energy credits. And so those weren't budgeted for in the budget, but we collected those, and that was about $180,000 in November that those had sold for. So that helps us by looking at these percentages, helps us identify things that are as expected and things that are not expected. But if we look at all these up here, we can see that they're fairly consistent with what we would expect for this time of year. And then if we look at line 21 for our operating income, we can see that we're like right on schedule of where we are. Of course, our net income down below here again is higher, but because of this reason that we already discussed there. All right, the cash flow statement. Cash flow statement's described as a tracking of cash movement in and out over a period of time. So just like our income statement, we have two periods that we report on this statement. One of those is the monthly, and again, the other one is year to date. On our statement of cash flows, though, we only present the current year cash flow on there. Some review tips that we've identified here is to agree the total cash end of period to the cash balance on the balance sheet to make sure that we have everything that we should on this statement of cash flows. So down here at the bottom, you can see this total cash end of period. And I just did a snippet of our cash balances that we have over on our balance sheet, and we can see that those agree there. And then the second review tip there is to compare total cash end of period to our minimum cash reserve. And our minimum cash reserve is listed down here at the bottom. And so we just want to make sure that we have more cash than that minimum cash reserve. The commission at one point went and created a cash reserve policy. And in that policy, they have a bunch of criteria to use to calculate this minimum cash reserve. And we calculate that once a year and then just monitor our cash to that cash reserve. We have that cash reserve just in case there's unexpected events that may occur, such as storms that can knock out lots of very costly infrastructure. On the water side, we have the dam to be concerned with, that if anything were to be an issue with the dam, that we have sufficient cash to go ahead and address those issues. And so here on my last slide is the budget timeline. Just like we saw on that income statement, that the budget's pretty important for us to be able to measure things against. And so since it's important to us, we work really hard on that to make sure that we're getting it as accurate as possible. So we've actually started on that here in January. And we'll be continuing to work on that through June. We like to break up the budget into sections so that we're not just presenting that full budget to you guys to have to review the whole thing all at once. So starting next month, you can see that we will start presenting pieces of that for the next 3 months. And then in May, we should be able to bring a full draft of the budget to you to review. And then our hope is that that can then be adopted at the June commission meeting. So that's all I got. Is there any questions?
Questions for Shane?
That was great.
Yeah,
Excellent. Good information.
right. Yep, thank you.
Next, purchasing manager Chad Hudson, update the commission. Hey, Chad.
Good evening. Yeah, I want to take a little bit of time tonight to update the commission on the building project. Design is moving forward on schedule. So right now we're at the very end of design development phase, which is the second of 3. Thank you. Oh man, you're spilling the beans. There we go. What was I? Yeah, so we're in that, we're basically at the end of the second design phase, design development. PNC construction and ACC cost estimators have received the design development package from architects MW&L. So what they're doing right now is they're putting together pricing, so the second cost estimate that we're going to be receiving for this project. So ACC is our third-party cost estimator, so we have somebody to compare to PNC's cost. So that's happening right now. We anticipate seeing that in the middle of February, staff does. Once we get that, we sit down, our owner architect contractor or OAC group sits down and we kind of do a reconciliation process on the 2 estimates. The first estimate was for the schematic design. They're actually pretty close, very close actually. And a lot of things when we were going through that reconciliation process, a lot of it was bucketing issues as far as they were putting different products in different buckets, but they were quoting the same thing. So in just different line items, if you will. So I think we've kind of narrowed some of that out in the first go around. So hopefully that'll even out a little bit. So we have this. Most of you all have probably seen this, maybe with the exception of Commissioner Johnson. So when PNC and MWA were here in November, they presented the schematic design. And that included that first estimate that I've been talking about. I want to bring this forward just to kind of highlight what it's going to look like for us. It's obviously a compressed schedule, condensed schedule, if you will. But it shows that there's going to be a lot of activity happening early in this 2026. So I wanted to highlight a lot of that in my memo and also point some of it out here. I'll kind of jump around my memo a little bit. The early procurement will be probably one of the first things that may come across the commission's radar. PNC Construction's identified electrical gear as a critical path item. Lead times are really long. In order to get the items that we need for the project, we got to order them early. So we hit the construction window. So they're going to be sending out bids here fairly soon to electrical contractors. And at that point, they will be selecting an electrical contractor. The electrical contractor will then procure the electrical items. It shouldn't be a cost impact upfront. It will be rolled into the guaranteed maximum price later. But for McMinnville Water and Light, there shouldn't be any upfront costs associated with that. But that'll be one of the first things that the commission may see. As we move forward, a lot of this will be kind of behind the scenes, won't be in front of the commission, but MWA architects will be submitting for permits in March. At the same time, when we do that, not when we, but when PNC, they'll be actually bidding out to subcontractors. So that's what that project bidding is. That's not McMinnville Water and Light bidding. That's them getting all the subcontractors on board. Gathering the price for GMP, which will be in May of 2026. So I kind of wanted to hit a little bit on the guaranteed maximum price and what that looks like. What we're talking about as a group, the OAC group, is they're going to be, PNC is going to be submitting a guaranteed maximum price at when we submit for the permit. So it'll be a permit set, about a 90% set. The reason for that is we're trying to hit the construction window this summer. If we don't hit that construction window and we wait till 100% construction drawings are completed, they're estimating we won't be able to start till August, September timeframe, and we're missing that window. So what's going to end up happening is they'll submit it, and if there's any changes that come out of the budgeting process, they have an evolution of design contingency built in right now. It's actually 10%, but it's shrinking as we go through. So it'll be 1 to 3%. So there shouldn't be any cost impact to the GMP. A change order may come through, but it would be for changes of the design or drawings a little bit, but that contingency should take care of the cost. So we just wanted to bring that forward to you and make you aware, because that'll be something that PNC does talk about when they present the design development package in March. So I wanted to kind of get the commission up to speed on that. Some of the things that aren't covered on here is the swing space lease. So the commission did authorize the general manager to execute a lease for swing space or a temporary space during construction. We've negotiated terms and conditions, agreed to those. In fact, I just sent the entire lease over to them with all the exhibits and everything that included potential tenant improvements that Water and Light's requesting. So hopefully, I'm hoping to have that wrapped up, well, sooner rather than later. But definitely by the end of this month, it'd be nice by end of next week or next week to have that completely executed. That checks a huge box off for us. And then kind of going with that is hiring a contractor to move some of this building. There's going to be a lot involved with that. It'll be a good time to purge. There'll be dumpsters, there'll be recycling bins. There's going to be a lot involved, but there are 6 contractors on the state of Oregon contract for For y'all that don't know, we're part of the Oregon Cooperative Procurement Program. We pay an annual membership fee of two grand per year. And that enables us to piggyback on state of Oregon contracts and get volume pricing. And that helps us in many ways. We get better pricing, and it also eliminates the need to go through the procurement processes. They've already done that. So we'll be reaching out to some moving contractors very soon to get some pricing for that. That will be another commission item coming from the commission. And then office furniture is another one that I want to bring forward. So MWA Architects has reached out to a handful of potential furniture vendors for the new facility when it's completed. They're all generated from a list that I gave them. They all had cooperative contracts that we can utilize, such as Oregon Cooperative Purchasing Program or Procurement Program. We've narrowed it down. We got a couple, and I think there's gonna actually down to one probably.
I have a recommendation from the group, so the next step is we're gonna go up and visit and have that conversation.
So while MWA has been kind of walking us through this process, the reins are going to kind of be turned over to Water and Light for a little bit. We're actually going to have the contractual relationship with the vendor. And that vendor will be outside of the guaranteed maximum price for construction. This will be a separate line item, a furniture line item in the budget. So just kind of wanted to give the commission an update on that. Not exactly sure we're going to be bringing that in front of the commission. They being the furniture vendor, will be integral part of design, interior colors and, outlets and where you put the grommets and the desks and all that stuff. So they will be a part of the design group as we move forward. So that's why they're this early in the process. So
our goal here is to, so we've talked to the county, their schedule is they're gonna be out of the building March 15th. So that gives us about 6 weeks to get everything organized, to get into the new space, because our goal is to get, right now the schedule has us moving into the new space on being out of this building May 5th. And so what we'll probably do is sometime in that time frame, we will actually shut the front office down. We'll have availability for phones, but no customer access, because we're planning to take the front counter out and reutilize that over in the new space. So we'll have to shut down to allow the contractor to do that. And then we'll move. I've also asked the county if whatever furniture they don't want, they can just leave it. We'll organize it. We'll figure out what fits, and then we'll bring whatever else we need from here. Anything else in the building, we're going to surplus, and we have to have everything out of the building by May 5th. So that's the plan right now.
it's a little bit happening.
It's gonna be busy.
Yeah, it'll be busy. So I just kind of want to bring some of the milestones from PNC's perspective. This is the construction side of it, but there's also some things like the furniture and the moving and all that kind of stuff that I want to highlight in the memo. So we're still on track right now for substantial completion in July of 2027. The swing space lease that John was just mentioning, we have through September 15th of 2027 currently. So we have a little wiggle room on both sides, but we're hoping we stay on schedule, and that's definitely the plan internally. And then we'll get to move into a brand new building that same month, July 2027. So I do have a couple pictures or drawings. I think they're a little bit different than last time, maybe. I wish this was bigger, but it's kind of a collage. And so this is what they submitted with their design development package. These are basically the only kind of schematic or drawings that they had in there. I think as far as the building goes, that's the way it's going to look. As far as some of the exterior colors and stuff like that, it may be a little bit different. We're still going through that process right now. Color of the brick, color of the stone, that stuff may change a little bit, but the general concept is pretty solid, and I don't think that'll be changing very much. So yeah, we're excited. The team's done a really good job this far. I think everybody
lot of employees who've been involved. We have a
Yes.
number of groups.
Yeah.
That have been working on interior, furniture, OAC, a lot of input from employees.
That's good. Good job.
And the last one, I guess, oh, wrong way. Is a warehouse, that's the only one that we have so far, but, what is it?
It's not quite as exciting as.
No, it's it's not, but it's a warehouse.
It's a
and so, yeah. But yeah, that's what we have, and I don't know if you have any questions or anything.
Good job, though, you guys.
Yeah.
Excited for it.
Did you say you have like a third party oversight or during the construction?
That would be us at MWA.
Okay,
Yep. So, yeah, we're doing that internally. MWA will be here for construction assistance as we go through the project. And then we really, I mean, upfront, we really vetted the CMGC that we selected. It was really important to us that we got a solid team on board, and so far they've done really well. I know it's only pre-construction, but we're really happy with the performance thus far.
oh, good.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sure I'll be seeing you a lot.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Chad.
Okay. And then we have John Dietz' report to the commission.
So, what I did is I pretty much took the water system and put it into 4 pages essentially. So what I'm working on is giving the commission information over time in a way that, since everyone's fairly new, but we'll probably do a number of these over the next few months so we can see. So this was just kind of an information for your review, just to see what's going on in the water system.
This is great, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
was
started
very
reading this.
I kind
Yeah.
of, essentially, instead of having to read the whole book, I kind of
I like it.
did the executive summary, and we'll do something very similar for the electric system too.
Great.
So you'll have an overview of what's going on with the electric system. So I plan to do the same thing with the electric system. Probably not next month because there's a much bigger agenda next month, but when we have open spots, I was planning to fill those in with this kind of information. So
Thank you.
just kind of a tool for the commission to get up to speed.
Good job.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions for John about it?
No.
Nope. Okay. So new business, we have a resolution 2026-1, an amendment number 3 to the Lafayette Water Purchase Agreement that John is going to present.
Yes. So in the memo, we talk a little bit about we built a 24-inch high-density polyethylene line to Lafayette from the end of the McMinnville system back in 2019. Started serving Lafayette from McMinnville in 2020. That contract was for 500 gallons per minute. Lafayette has requested to increase that to 760 gallons per minute, which is the maximum they can take from the pump station they currently have, which is essentially right there just before you get to Lafayette Dayton Highway on the left side as you're headed towards Portland. There's a pump station, and that is the pump station. The line is a 24-inch, so it is more than adequate to handle that. We've actually have a T at the end of that line to actually extend that line in the future. So we actually put a T on that when we did that for future connections. Also, the city of Lafayette at some point may want to increase all the way to 1,500 gallons per minute. We'll have to do some system improvements to do that. But I had James and his group check to make sure that we had adequate pressure. By adding that additional capacity for Lafayette, which we do, we have no issue with that. I think down the road, when Lafayette asks for the 1,500 gallons per minute, we probably have to do some increases in some of our pipes essentially out of the airport. We have a 24-inch pipe that comes all the way from across this property, goes down Norton Lane, comes back, heads east, all the way almost to Cumulus, where the Cumulus crossing is, and then it stops there. We'd have to maybe extend that or put some crossings in to get to that flow. And also I wanted to make sure we had capacity for the future landing property as well. So That's why I think we'll have to do some future upgrades out there for essentially Lafayette, but I think there's no issues with this increase in capacity.
So if Lafayette was to, in the future, go to 15,000,
1,500 gallons per minute,
1,500,
right?
Would the T that we put in it be, that, was there additional capacity beyond that, or would that
No, there-
maximize that entire line?
No, because think about the 24-inch is equivalent to 4 12-inch pipes. And they're only using a 12-inch pipe essentially.
Oh, okay,
So there's three additional 12-inch pipes you could basically utilize out
so
of
the limiting factor is,
us on this far side, yeah.
okay.
Not, because there's essentially between the 24 and the 12 and the other 24 is a 12-inch pipe.
Okay.
So we would be the limiting factor. And so we have 3 sources of water over there now. We have one 12-inch under the river. We have one 12-inch that we put in when the bridge was done. So there's a 12-inch across the bridge. And then the 24-inch that goes under the river across this property and pops up on Norton Lake. So.
Okay. Pam?
If you're ready, this is resolution number 2026-1. Resolution authorizing and approving amendment number 3 to the water purchase agreement between the City of McMinnville Water and Light Commission and the City of Lafayette, a municipal corporation of the state of Oregon. It's resolution number 2026-1.
Do I have a motion to accept the resolution? I have a motion from Commissioner Elmer. Do I have a second? Second. A second from Commissioner Lisa Macy Baker. Any further discussion? Rena, can you take a poll?
Yes, Mayor Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Elmer,
Yes.
Commissioner Macy Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
All right. Great. Now we're going to move on to election of chair and clerk of the commission. Sam Justice, General Counsel, to present.
Right, so this is an annual obligation privilege of the commission to both elect a chair of the commission, which is a position that's prescribed by the city charter. So annually, the commission is to elect from one of its own members a chair. And this chair serves in times when the mayor is not available to lead the meetings. There's also a duty of the chair to review certain documents that go to the city in the budgeting or in the auditing and financial process. So it's a duty that famously Commissioner Tankersley held for over 30 years. So I don't want to put any pressure on anyone, but it's an obligation of the commission to decide from amongst you, but not the mayors. It's really a choice of three individuals here today, who that would be, and that requires an election of the commission. The other thing we need to do is elect annually. You also are required to elect a clerk of the commission. A few years ago, we suggested to the commission that instead of just electing a single clerk, that you actually elect 2 clerks that will serve in kind of dual roles consistent with their own job duties. We have Ms. McManus, who has been serving really as sort of, just I'll kind of summarize that as the records clerk, runs the meetings, takes care of the records, signs documents to attest the mayor's signature. But we also have Mr. Dunmeyer, who's our financial director, who serves in the capacity, serves as an assistant city treasurer, if you will, and takes care of the financial records of the commission. As you know, the commission controls its own funds, and those funds are directed generally through our finance director. Yes, he has a role also in your investment policy. As you review that document, he takes steps every month in consultation with the general manager to review the money that's being held and whether or not, for example, additional money needs to go into federal bonds or treasury bills. That's a function he carries out in that role. You can take one or the other first or second. I do have a recommendation to make with regards to the clerk of the commission. I would recommend to you that you continue Ms. McManus and Mr. Dunmeyer in those roles as clerk of the commission. For the chair, I'm afraid that's up to you.
Okay. So let's do the clerk of the commission. And your motion, your suggestion
So
is
this
that we
would-
do the two. Go
Right, this
ahead.
would be a motion to elect Trina Manis and Mark Dunmire as clerks of the Minimal Water Light Commission, perform duties of the clerk in 2026, consistent with their respective job descriptions. That would be the motion.
Okay. Okay,
Second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Lisa Macy Baker. I always say your full name.
Sorry.
Commissioner Elmer is the second. Any further discussion? Okay, and we don't need to be, do we need to be polled on that?
That's
We
just a
don't,
motion.
just a motion. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, congratulations. Where is Mr. Dunmire? Oh, there he is. Congratulations. Congratulations, Trina. Okay, so now we need to go to a chair of the commission. So if somebody has a motion or,
I move to elect Jenny as the chair
I
of
second that.
our commission.
Congratulations. Okay, so we have a motion from.
Hey, wow.
Are you okay with that? Okay, and a second from Mayor Morris. So any further discussions? Nothing else from Denny? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No.
Congratulations,
Thank you. Okay.
You're the second chair and the last.
30 years to go and he can be done.
Yep, you got it.
Well, actually, I take it back, there was one. Kathy Tate.
Patty Tate served as chair.
For a year.
Okay.
Okay. Perfect.
Third.
Does anybody have any questions in regards to John's general manager report?
Do we want to talk about the resolution 26 dash?
So I just put my mark right through that and I passed right by it. Yes, go ahead, John. Resolution 2026-2.
So this is essentially a resolution to update our check signer policy. Our check signer policy in terms of the check limit has not been updated since 1996, and it was at $5,000. So we're recommending that we raise that limit to $10,000.
Which is in my mind very reasonable,
Yeah.
especially compared to what we do at the city.
Yeah.
So, any discussion?
Makes sense.
Okay, this is resolution number 2026-2, a resolution by the City of Mendel's Water and Light Commission establishing check signing limits. It's resolution number 2026-2.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Would be, and you will be. So
Yes.
that's right.
Commissioner Elmer, do I have a second?
I second.
Commissioner Johnson? Trina?
Yes, Mayor Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Elmer,
Yes.
Commissioner Macy Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
All right. Now we're gonna go to your report. So anybody have any questions on John's report?
I do have one additional item.
Okay,
If you're.
Yep.
We have had some, or we have a tree that has come down in the Fox Ridge Reservoir area, near one of our reservoirs. So we're looking at doing some additional clearing of some of the trees that could potentially endanger the service reservoirs and the pump station, or future pump station, I should say. So we'll be doing some work up there in the near future.
great. Just one thing I wanted to point out is how impressive it is of the retention rate for employees at 97%.
Right.
That's pretty amazing.
I was just looking at that, and I had just a quick question, like in 2022, the hire and external hire at 22, what happened that it was such a high?
We had, a good portion of those were internal hires where they moved to different positions. We had some retirements around that time, and we reorganized our, electrical and engineering departments. And so some of those were promotions for staff, and then some of them were hiring.
Okay.
And this is Marcy Humley, our human resource manager for our live audience.
Bad.
Yeah. So the other thing I thought that was good was how you work with staff I'm gonna call them meter readers, and the change of the readers, and how you aren't gonna need that as many employees and you're transitioning them over to other positions. So,
Yeah, so we will at some point have an additional move. Because we'll be down to, once we have the AMI project or AMR project complete. Then we will have, we won't have the need for as many, and so we'll move one additional meter reader to somewhere else in the organization.
okay. And great, getting in the news for your mutual aid to
Mhm.
Sheridan, even though you didn't have to provide much.
Yeah.
Still look good. Brian looked good in the convert.
4 gallons of water.
Yeah. So, but that was great that we're able to be there if they need it.
I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool that we have that capacity or that ability to do that.
Yeah, that was part of the students. wasn't
Yeah,
it?
that
Yeah.
was, and so the good thing with that was that we actually got to try it out because we hadn't been able to try it out yet.
Nice.
And so we learned a couple things, or they learned a couple things, so they'll be making some changes, but that's good. I mean, that's why we want to do those things.
Yeah.
So,
Great.
doing good.
Anything else anybody wants to bring up about his report? Okay. Any other comments from the commissioners? All right, so there's financial information in the package. Any questions? I went over things with Shane, but anything anybody has any questions about? Nope. Okay, and there is no executive session, just to make a note, we're gonna do those quarterly instead of each meeting now. So if there's no further business, I'm adjourning the meeting at 5:57.
Look at that.
And I think if anybody's interested, there's pizza for dinner.
Perfect.